Hello everyone. Today I'll be talking about the core concepts and ideas related to media audiences. So before defining and explaining deeply what do we mean by media audiences, let me just give you a short recapitulation of media literacy. So as it is known, media literacy is mostly defined in terms of the knowledge, in terms of the skills that you need or individuals need in order to analyze, to evaluate and to produce media messages. But these skills mainly relate to four key facets, of the mass media phenomena, which are deemed to be really very important and essential aspects of media literacy. The first facet is what is called media industries. The second one, media messages. The third one, media effects. And the fourth one, media audiences. So what do we mean by media industries? The media industry can be defined as a varied collection of organizations, that share the production, publication, and distribution of media texts. The example I can provide you with is, for instance, BBC. BBC is considered as a media industry as it is, of course, the one which is responsible for the production, for the publication, and the distribution of media texts. So mostly media industries are producing messages to make a profit. They will turn out only messages that will attract considerable audiences. So what's the motive or what's the profit behind media industries is just to market the forces, to shape the output of the consumers, just to attract consumers, just to influence them to buy products, just to impact them to embrace certain ideologies or certain agenda. So this is, of course, the role of media industries. Media messages is another facet of media literacy. So media, normally when we speak about media messages, we speak about the content of that is, of course, delivered to the audience, the information that is received by the consumer. So normally media do not present reality like transparent windows. Media messages are just created. They are created by media industries. They are shaped. They are positioned through a construction process. That's why we say that behind a message or behind the content of the message, there is a big industry. So media industries involve many decisions about what really to include in a message, what to exclude from a message, and how to represent reality. That's why we say that awareness of the constructed nature of media messages is really essential, important, in order to evaluate and to assess a media content. Because if we are not aware of how the message is constructed, we will not, of course, successfully evaluate or assess a media content. So media text is an important part of the media message that is portrayed. And often media messages have a subtext. We say a text and a subtext. That is to say subtext, what is behind, as we say, what is behind the lines. What is the subtext? It's just the meaning behind the text. It is what the text is implying without directly stating. Sometimes the words are not used, sometimes just certain or other techniques than the language, like the use of colors, like the use of camera angles, to, of course, deliver certain messages. So, for example, we say advertisements, right? Advertisements such as billboards and TV commercials typically present easily recognizable media messages. So what the advertisement designers do is that they have a clear picture in their mind, okay, of what really they want the consumer to do, to buy a product, okay, to embrace, as I said, an ideology or an agenda. So advertisements attract your interest by showing you something you want, you really want, you're really in need of, okay, even if you didn't think you wanted it before. But when you saw the advertisements, or when you see, the advertisements, of course, you want to have this product. So from this perspective, in addition to being able to skillfully deconstruct the media text, the media literate is also, or should also be knowledgeable, right, of the political economy of the media, the consequences of the media consumption, and the activists and alternative media movement that seek to challenge, of course, the norms and the conventions and the traditions set by mainstream media. Another important facet is what is called media effects. So as we all know, right, the media, whether it's TV, internet, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, right, any medium of media exert immediate effects, like for instance, when a person watches a political advertisement and decides, of course, to vote for that particular candidate. So the effect is direct, or the effect is immediate. But media also exerts influences on people over the long term. That is to say, when it takes a long time before we can see any evidence of an effect. So some effects last just a short time and then they go away, while other effects may remain, of course, permanent. So what do you think about media effects? People typically think of media effects as being negative, such as exposure to violence, okay? Children being exposed to violence, youth being exposed to violence, to drugs, okay? And that lead, of course, to antisocial behavior, right? Also news story promoting, for instance, negative information about a person that may have, of course, a negative effect, as it may damage his reputation. But the media also exerts positive effects, okay? We don't have to deny these facts, because we can learn all kinds of useful things by reading newspapers, magazines, books, consulting websites, okay? We can use the media also to interact, and we are using media to interact with other people, and in order to feel part of that interesting or uninteresting community, whether it is a real community or just a virtual community. So, now I turn to the last facet of media literacy, and the one that I'll be talking about today is what is related, of course, to media audiences. So I will provide you by some definitions about media audiences. A media audience is the group of people who purchase a media product, okay? A group of people who purchase a media product, or a group of people who, as I said, right, may embrace an ideology or an agenda or an idea, okay? Media audiences is the group that the producers are aiming their advertisements, their magazines, their TV show at, okay? Of course, they are very important, right? When we speak about audiences, we speak about the importance of audiences, because we cannot imagine media without audiences, okay? Because without an audience, a media product would not be sold and so would not make money. And as we have said, media industries are targeting only money and profits, okay? A media audience may be as small as one person, right? Reading just a magazine, just one person, or large or billions of people around the world watching, of course, BBC News or watching events, right? Okay, on TV, right? Or on another medium of media. Okay. Normally, audiences have a complex relationship with the products they consume. Media producers intend audiences to read their products in a certain way. But in actual fact, everyone reads and enjoys a product differently due to the individual's background and lifestyle. That is to say, we may be watching the same TV show, but we will not have the same interpretation, right, of the message. And this is due, of course, to the differences, right, between us, differences in lifestyle, differences in our background, right, social, economic, or cultural background, and etc. So the interpretation, of course, would be totally different from one to another. That's why it is said that a distinction should be made between the encoding of media text by producers, okay, how do they encode the message, okay, and the decoding by consumers, how as consumers we decode, of course, that message, which is, I repeat, encoded, okay, by producers. However, whether we are watching TV, surfing the internet, listening, of course, to our iPods, or reading a novel, we all engage with media as an audience. Different types of audiences may be distinguished. Different types of audiences may be distinguished. We may speak about mass audience, which is also termed as broadcast audience. And yes, here we're speaking about those people who are normally consuming mainstream or popular texts such as soaps, such as sitcoms. We may speak about niche audience. It is really much smaller, but very influential, right? A niche audience is a small, select group of people with a very unique interest, okay? They are not interested in the whole mainstream media, okay? We may say, for instance, media texts that are consumed by lawyers are not the same that are consumed by doctors, are not the same that are consumed by scientists, are not the same that are consumed by literate people. So audiences, of course, are various and have different purposes and have different aims, and of course select their medium according to their vision of the world, according to their to what they really want, what they feel they really the medium that really satisfies their needs. As a member of one particular audience, try to watch an advertisement and answer the following questions. Question number 1, does the advertisement present the beliefs of one particular group? Question number 2, describe the representations of men and women in that advertisement. Question number 3, are any stereotypes used? Question number 4, if so, to what effect? Question number 5, who is in a position of power? Who is not, who benefits as a result, and the last question, does these advertisements exclude any groups of people or their beliefs? So to conclude, I would say that media literacy depends on both knowledge and skills. So in particular, you need to acquire the knowledge about these key facets that we have just been speaking about of the mass media phenomena, of course, media industries, media messages, media effects, and media audiences, okay? And you have to apply, or you have to be able to apply this knowledge when you have to assess and to analyze and to evaluate all kinds of media messages. Of course, it's not something that is easy, but just through practice, okay, you'll have to acquire the skill of the evaluation and assessment of certain, of course, texts and subtext, or let me say just the content, right, in general of media. So I would say thank you very much for listening, and hope to clarify things more in the coming session.